correspondent Greg Cluxton reports.
Former Fed Governor Adriana Kugler, who retired in August, listed several stock trades in her financial disclosure documents for 2024 that violated the central bank's ethics rules. The transactions are outlined in a report released by the U.S. Office of Government Ethics. Fed officials are barred from investing in individual stocks, bonds, or cryptocurrencies. Greg Clugston, Washington.
President Trump announced Friday that he was scrapping U.S. tariffs on beef, coffee, tropical fruits, and a broad swath of other commodities. The move comes amid mounting pressure to combat high consumer prices. Republican strategist Aaron McGuire says White House tariff policies are working.
President Trump smartly is making moves to open up more trade lanes and remove barriers so we can remove tariffs on things to make them more affordable, and you can buy them here in the United States. And that should go for everything.
McGuire spoke with the Salem Radio Network. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Just how good is Pure Talk's current deal for unlimited wireless? Well, you might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Because right now, for just $29.95 a month, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This is Pure Talk's top-tier plan. It comes with a crazy fast 5G network along with a 30-gig hotspot. And at just $29.95 a month, there has never been a better opportunity to lock in a ridiculously low rate for as long as you live. And save thousands and thousands of dollars along the way. This plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you will save over 50% every single month for the rest of your life. See what I mean? It really is the deal of your lifetime. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer ends 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
The ousted Prime Minister of Bangladesh has been sentenced to death. Sheikh Hasina and one of her close aides were found guilty on charges of crimes against humanity for a crackdown against a student uprising last year that killed hundreds of people and led to the toppling of her 15-year rule. BBC correspondent Arunday Mukherjee filed this report earlier today from outside the court in Dhaka.
Both of them significantly not part of this trial in that sense. They've been tried in absentia. The judge also made an interesting observation, saying that the fact that they're absconding also illustrates their views. The only person who was present was the former police chief. The judge seemed to take a more lenient stand on him. More crowds I can see have gathered over here. There are also families who had arrived here who lost people during the protests. You also have a lot of the student leaders. You've got that kind of emotion really being picked up on here outside the court.
Breaking news, townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here is tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening with a low temperature dipping down to 38. Tomorrow night, mostly sunshine-filled skies, a high climbing up to 72. And we get warmer on Wednesday through Friday, a blend of sunshine and clouds. We'll have highs right around 80 degrees each day. The next rain in our forecast looks like it'll be Saturday or Sunday with about a 20% chance for showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Okay. Welcome in Sports Talk Media Network. Definitely a manic Monday night. Good to have you with us. It's Phil Kornblut along with Chris Bergen at the Bergie Palace. Matt Smith joining us tonight from the Smitty Estate. And we have the plumber, Josh Cohen, once again behind the scenes where he belongs. Phone number 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525. Text line 803-900-4847. What makes this show superior to all others, in my humble opinion, is the fact that we can bring you three people who covered three games, the three FBS teams over the weekend, with eyewitness in-person accounting of what happened. I was in College Station. Bergie was in Statesboro, Georgia. And Smitty, of course, was in Louisville on Friday night. Does that make us any smarter than anybody else? Well, I think there's value in actually being on site and seeing things with your own eyes and being in the background and in the locker rooms and in the interview rooms and seeing reactions and all that. So that being said, we are together here to talk about the developments over the weekend. And to sum it up, in my opinion, Clemson won a game it shouldn't have. South Carolina lost a game it shouldn't have. And Coastal Carolina lost its quarterback, which probably kills the rest of its season. That's kind of the way I sum it up. South Carolina, Texas A&M, the only way I can explain the unexplainable is that A&M played like the third-ranked team in the country for the last 30 minutes, and South Carolina played like a team with 3 wins in the last 30 minutes. South Carolina got every break in the world in the first half from a Texas A&M team. What do I say, guys? What do I like to say? 12 o'clock kickoffs, in this case 11 o'clock kickoffs, the home team, they're not ready to play.
No.
I mean,
they're the road team.
They're still asleep. And in South Carolina, Texas A&M played like a team that was still asleep. Missed passes, dropped passes, penalties, turnovers, and South Carolina, to their credit, took advantage of it, made big plays, made plays. They made plays, and they built the huge lead. Now, did anybody think that was going to stand? Well, maybe, because all you got to do is just come out and maybe control the football a little bit, continue to play good defense, maybe throw another 7 points on the board, and you'll be home free. Obviously, Texas A&M didn't get to where they are by just lounging around and letting a 3-win team come in and embarrass them. They pulled themselves up by their pants. Somebody in that locker room is a leader, or they have multiple leaders, coaching staff or players. My guess is some of those players got together and said, we're not going to let this just happen. And they played, of course, great football in the second half and dominated South Carolina. And the Gamecocks could not respond. And it's not like they quit. It's not like they didn't want to respond. But they were played. They went up against a team that was number 3 in the country for a reason. And they could not respond at that particular point in time. So they lose, and it's just been that kind of season for South Carolina. Close but no cigar, playing the best teams in the country into the fourth quarter on the road. I mean, except Alabama was home, but LSU and this particular game, Texas A&M, and others that they have played, right there. But they're just not good enough. For whatever reason, they're just not good enough this year. So we'll go into the other things in just a moment. I want to go around the room here, so to speak, and get everybody else's thoughts on their particular game. So, Smitty, let's go to you, and then we'll get to Bergie. Clemson LSU Friday night, that was a crazy game. Tigers very fortunate, probably had no business winning that game. Good fortune smiled on them with the 2 missed field goals by Louisville late, and the Tigers, they found a way to win, which is all you can ask. And, I mean, to Dabo Swinney, doesn't matter how they got it done. They just got it done and put themselves in position now to become bowl eligible this Saturday against Furman.
Yeah, and the way Coach Swinney put it, and by the way, I'll get to in a moment, I was very surprised at Coach Swinney's reaction in the postgame. But the way you put it to open the show, Corn, was the way I felt sitting in the press box looking down on the field, which was, sometimes in a great novel, there is no hero. It's just one is less evil than the other, and there's no one to really connect to. These were 2 clubs in Louisville and Clemson that, to me, looked like they were trying to give the game away. I know on X, because I was updating the game on X, and there were a lot of posts about, memes out there where guys were knocking themselves out in bar fights, people shooting themselves in the foot, self-inflicted wound jokes. And that was kind of what I thought I was watching play out. And I don't know how Clemson fans felt watching the game, but that's what I was feeling, especially when Clemson had the bad snap toward the end of the game on a punt where they could have, really put Louisville in a bad position with a good punt there from Jack Smith. He never was able to do that. He had to jump on a bad punt, giving Louisville position to win the game, which then they messed up. But then Louisville committed more errors, more critical errors than Clemson did. 10 penalties, and of course we all saw at the end the bad penalty from the offensive lineman, although I'll say that I thought 2 Clemson players, including DeMonte Capehart, stood over the downed Louisville running back too long and were in danger of getting a 15-yard penalty themselves, which would have ended the game essentially going the other way. Mm-hmm. But having said that, here's what I want to get to, and I'd love to know. We'll take the phone calls tonight, 888-898-2525, the reaction, and I want to hear Zach Willis's reaction as well. I thought Clemson, my opinion has not changed on Clemson. I watched them beat Florida State after Florida State imploded. I watched them beat Louisville, who essentially gave the game away. And I've seen them beat a couple of bad teams, like in Boston College and North Carolina recent weeks. I saw them lose to Duke, saw them, lose to SMU. My opinion on Clemson has not changed, whether they were 4-6, 5-5, or 6-4. They're the same team, and I see issues out there. They gave up 6.5 yards per play, and Coach Sweeney came into the post-game press conference bragging on the defense, excited about the victory. Now, I guess you can separate things. You can be excited about the scoreboard, but I was very surprised. It's like a parent who has a son or a daughter that keeps screwing up and kind of getting away with it, and you want to tell them, this is going to catch up with you, this is going to catch up with you. No, Coach Sweeney was acting like the enabling parent that said, what a victory. What an incredible performance. What character these kids showed. I had a different take. And the reason, if it sounds like there's a little bit almost of I have an axe to grind, let me point this out. Because sometimes I feel like, I'm not speaking certainly for the Clemson fan base, but I always want to make sure that what I see from that fan base reflected in our phone calls and in posts and everything, in the reaction, that message is getting to Coach Sweeney, because he certainly talks to the fan base through us when he is discussing things. And in his post-game comments, he kind of ranted and raved a little bit about how the media, and by extension the fan base, was so far off about the evaluation of this team. And I just think that's absolutely, positively the wrong bone of contention to pick at. Let me give you an example, and I'm gonna take the example he gave. This is after the game, 20-19, after Louisville missed 2 field goals and an extra point, and Clemson escapes. 20-19. Sweeney pointed out that they've been proven right that they didn't need to go into the transfer portal for a running back because they had converted Adam Randall, and of course, highly touted freshman Gideon Davidson was coming into the fold. And he said, you guys were just wrong. You guys were off. And I don't know what he means. I don't know if he means us, meaning like the small room of, prominent Clemson meet, because I'm certainly not one of those, but the people that cover it every day. Does he mean the wider fan base? Does he mean the wider football world? I don't know. But here's why I say that is the wrong bone of contention to pick. And I'm getting to the point about this game and why it mattered. If he and his staff believed in Adam Randall and Gideon Davidson, the way that he said that they do after this game, they would get the football more. In 9 games against Power 4 teams this season, Adam Randall has averaged 12.2 carries per game. 12.2. They're not running his legs off. And is that because he's splitting carries with the super talented freshman Davidson? No. Davidson is touching the football less than 5 times a game. Adam Randall now is getting 5.2 yards per carry. I know a lot of coaches, and you know them too, Corn, you know them, Chris. They would run somebody until they threw up if they were averaging 5 yards a carry. Adam Randall is getting 12.2 per game, only 15 in this one. Keith Adams Jr. had 49 yards and a touchdown against Boston College. 49 yards and a touchdown on 7 carries against Boston College. Has he touched it since? That game was October 11. He has not. He has not touched the football since. And if you recall, after that game, I was in the press conference and I said, Coach Sweeney, tell me about this rotation. Is Adams earning more carries? Is Adam Randall going to be featured more now because you ran the football so well? And Coach Sweeney, this is my fault, I did not phrase the question well, and Coach Sweeney danced around it and then joked that Peter Woods was going to get more carries, which brings us to this game. Peter Woods was going to get more carries. So in this football game, in a crucial spot, it's Peter Woods' number that is called, not Adam Randall's. So I don't think he can point to the media or the fan base and say that you guys were wrong. We didn't need to go to the portal. I don't know anything about the portal. I don't know who's out there. I think Clemson has enough talent in the backfield. I don't think Garrett Riley thinks there's enough talent in the backfield because Clemson, who is perilously thin at the defensive tackle position, suffered an injury before the game and had one during the game. Perilously thin at the defensive tackle position. It was Peter Woods, not Adam Randall, carrying the football near the goal line. And, of course, they ended up turning it over on downs, and it was a fumble, and it was a whole fiasco, and Clemson still escapes. If Clemson would have lost that game, if Louisville would have hit either one of its fourth-quarter field goals, that's the play we'd be talking about. Those are the plays that we'd be talking about. So I just find it curious. I'll get your reaction. Love to hear from everybody else. I know it sounds like I was on a soapbox there, but I just found it curious. Coach Sweeney at 5-5 is taking a victory lap about the development of Adam Randall at running back. And to me, it's kind of like Dean Smith was the only guy that could hold Michael Jordan under 30 points a game. Adam Randall doesn't touch the football enough. Gideon Davidson doesn't touch it hardly at all. Keith Adams Jr. is MIA. He's on a milk carton. And Peter Woods is getting goal line carries. I don't think it's the assembled media or the fan base. I think Garrett Riley doesn't think Clemson has enough. And to me, the reason I bring this up, they're 5-5. Wouldn't you have liked to have known with games against Boston College and North Carolina and Troy and things like that, wouldn't you have liked to have seen Adam Randall get 25 carries in one of those games and find out if he can do it? I still don't know. Can he do it? And now Clemson is going down the final stretch. They're probably going to make a bowl game. And I still can't answer the question, is Adam Randall good enough to carry this team in a big game against a big-name opponent? Because Louisville's not. They were a little bit fraudulent, and they gave the game away. Can they do it against a big-name opponent? And I still don't have that answer, and they've played 10 games.
Excellent points. I agree with everything you're saying. It's mind-boggling, some of the decisions made by play callers. I want to play this real quick. This was on television after the game Friday night. Nobody, I think we can agree, in college football, nobody, no coach rises to the moment with his commentary better than Dabo Sweeney. Whether it's a high moment or whether it's a low moment, he has the words. And to his fan base, they are the right words. In case you didn't catch it as he was coming off the field talking to the ESPN sideline reporter, I want to play this again because this is Dabo Sweeney captured at his best. He's got not a very good football team. He's got an average football team that just won a game it should have lost, and he's still able to make his point and make his message heard by his people. Here you go.
The tougher it's gotten, the closer they've become, the stronger they've gotten, and the more they've dug in. And that's not normal. Not in today's world. That's not normal. Usually when you have some adversity, you divide. People are looking for the sideline or the training room, but not these Tigers, not these seniors. That's the freaking heart of a champion right there. The record don't define you. How you respond is what defines you. In everything, in life, in football, and everything. And hey, our record ain't what we want it to be, but we got a hell of a great group of young people right there that just fought their butts off, gave every ounce of everything they had. A lot of people have quit on them. There ain't no quitting that bunch, and there ain't no quitting me. Go Tigers.
I mean, Bergie, that is quintessential Dabo Sweeney attacking the moment in a way that really only he can. There's very few coaches who can put those kind of words together. I mean, he makes it sound like he's got a great football team that, just hasn't had its kind of year, but still a great football team with great players and all that, when in essence, they're an average football team that was very lucky to win on Friday night, really hasn't beaten a good football team all season long, which is not their fault. They play in a lousy conference. And but he can make you feel good about it. And now the Tigers, if they beat Furman, they'll go to the Pinstripe Bowl or the Fenway Bowl or something like that. And they'll make, if they win out, they'll have a winning streak. They'll keep their bowl appearance streak alive. They'll finish with eight wins, which isn't up to their norm, but they can still build on the way it ended. So quintessential Dabo Swinney there at the end of that particular game. As for Coastal Carolina, wow. I just that was tough, and you lose your starting quarterback, I guess, for the season, which means you got to go to a backup coming into Columbia.
Well, it's not Dabo's bring your own gut speech, but yeah, that was quintessential Dabo, and I agree with Smitty too. I think if I'm Adam Randall and the rest of that running back room, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing Peter Woods come in and get goal line carries over us, because that's what we get paid to do, is run the football. But anyway, to Coastal, I saw easily, guys, the wildest game of the weekend, because you had two teams that combined for over 1,100 yards. And tell me if anybody on this program, even our listeners, have ever seen a game in which you had 3 touchdown passes thrown by non-quarterbacks. Yeah, I'll wait.
Yeah. No.
Coastal had 2 touchdown passes thrown by Bryson Graves and Robbie Washington, and O.J. Arnold, the running back for Georgia Southern, threw a touchdown pass. And to top that off, he's the first Georgia Southern Eagle to ever run for, catch, and also throw a touchdown pass in the same game.
That is – well, I was going to say I always considered Corey Jenkins of South Carolina a non-quarterback, but I'm not sure he ever threw 3 touchdowns.
I'm sorry, I should have paraphrased. 3 different people. How's that? 3 different non-quarterback people. But, yeah, Coastal just undisciplined. It was a Coastal team that came in the least penalized team in the Sun Belt, guys, and committed 13 penalties. I think that's right. 13 in the ball game. I got to a point I've stopped counting. Yeah, 13 penalties, and that was twice over their season average, and just critical penalties like, second down and 7, you jump off sides. Now it's second down and 2. They just hand the ball off to Arnold, and he breaks free for 10 yards and another first down. It's just one of those games. As it went along, you just started thinking, boy, Coastal's going to have something really magical sort of happen in the fourth quarter. They lost the backup linebacker on the kickoff to open the game. He got blindsided and knocked out, and Walt Gray, fortunately, is okay. They had to bring out the backboard, put him on the stretcher, and take him to the hospital, and Coach saying afterwards that he was released from the hospital during the game and rejoined the team, so he was going to travel back with the team to Conway. But that sort of set the tone. And both teams went back and forth. And then, Phil, as you pointed out, Samari Collier gets hurt late in the first quarter. Looked like a leg injury of some sort. He was back out on the field on crutches but never returned. And you go back to Tad Hudson, who stepped in when M.J. Morris, who started the season when he struggled passing the football. Tad came in, transferred from North Carolina. Really, really good high school career. Can sling it all over the lot. But the offense just wasn't responding to him, and he gets hurt in the Louisiana Monroe game. Samari Collier from the junior college ranks, where he won a national championship, he steps in, and the offense just starts going up and down the field. It was phenomenal to watch. And then he gets hurt in this game, so you go back to Tad Hudson, and more than likely you'll not have Samari this weekend when the Chanticleers take on the Gamecocks, so they're going to have to rely on their stable of running backs -1 and Samari Collier.
That's such a disappointing loss, because you had that opportunity to face James Madison for the division championship in 2 weeks, and now that's out the window. They still have stuff to play for, of course, but that would have been such a nice win at Georgia Southern, and and it's too bad your quarterback gets hurt. You've been rolling into Columbia with a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence on the offensive side, so that's just a shame the way things happened there. Okay, we're going to hit the break. Got a few more things to say. Your phone calls are coming up. Phone number 888-898-2525. We'll be right back. We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, let's say I'm out in the woods or I'm on the water and I need to reach a DNR agent. How do I do that?
Operation Game Thief, Phil. It's been around 30-plus years. You can call us at our 24-hour hotline any time of day, 1-800-922-5431. To report wildlife violations or to get help if you're in trouble in the woods or on the water, call us at Operation Game Thief, 1-800-922-5431.
Football season is upon us, and that means Columbia is welcoming fans from around the corner and across the country. No matter where you're from, Gamecocks love coming together for game day energy that can only be found in South Carolina's capital city. Book hotel rooms, find pre- and post-game activities, and plan your tailgate spread with local favorites from pimento cheese to barbecue at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com. We'll see you soon, and go Gamecocks!
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
This is Perry Orth, former South Carolina quarterback. On the field, my job was simple. Read the defense, protect the ball, and give my team the best chance to win. Off the field, at Moultrie Insurance, our job is no different. Help protect your business from the risks that you don't see coming, so you can focus on moving the ball forward. Just like a good quarterback, we anticipate challenges, call the right plays, and keep you protected. Trust Moultrie Insurance to cover your blind side and keep your business in the game. Visit MoultrieINS.com today.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
We take requests here on Sports Talk. Somebody texted us and asked us to play that here on a Manic Monday.
Little River Band? Excellent.
Yeah. From Little River, South Carolina, huh? I don't think so. I'm going to talk about Shane Beamer and his job after the bottom of the hour break. What you got, Smitty?
Yeah, I just wanted to also mention, and of course, in my head when I hear back what I said, look, I don't want to be overly negative. I almost feel like, but Coach Sweeney was so positive that I wanted to bring it, almost just give you what I saw. And another thing that I saw, as I say that, and I'm going to be more negative, but 1 of 13 on third down. Clemson just won a game that was when they were 1 of 13 on third down. And this will irk Clemson fans. Do you remember the first thing Dabo Swinney did when he got the job? Corn, you were covering him. Do you remember the very first thing that he did?
Yeah, he fired Rob Spence.
And the big criticism of Rob Spence, there were two criticisms of Rob Spence. He would always throw tunnel and bubble screens short of the chains when it was third down. And also, he wasn't getting the ball to C.J. Spiller enough. That was the thought process. And I'll just tell you, to me, I counted no less than 13 passes at or behind the line of scrimmage. 13 at or behind the line of scrimmage. May have been more. I just noticed it and started counting. Mm-hmm. Friday night, Clemson was 1 of 13 on third down. If they'd have lost that game, that would have been a talking point.
There would have been a lot of talking points had they lost that game. Very fortunate. All right, we're going to talk about stuff about Beamer and your phone calls coming up.
On Point Weather on 107 The Point.
Here is tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening with a low temperature dipping down to 38. Tomorrow night, mostly sunshine-filled skies, a high climbing up to 72. And we get warmer on Wednesday through Friday, a blend of sunshine and clouds. We'll have highs right around 80 degrees each day. The next rain in our forecast looks like it'll be Saturday or Sunday with about a 20% chance for showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
Who was murdered. With SRN News, I'm Mary Rose. The UN Security Council has approved a U.S. plan for Gaza that authorizes an international stabilization force to provide security in the devastated territory and envisions a possible future path to an independent Palestinian state. Russia, which had circulated a rival resolution, abstained along with China on the 13-0 vote. The U.S. and other countries had hoped that Moscow would not use its veto power on the United Nations' most powerful body to block the resolution's adoption. O.J. Simpson's estate has finally agreed to pay a multi-million-dollar settlement to Fred Goldman. Fred is the father of Ron Goldman, who was murdered alongside Nicole Brown Simpson in June 1994 outside Nicole's Brentwood home. O.J. was put on trial for their murders. This is SRN News.
I don't know too many folks out there who love paying taxes, but what about getting tax credits? That's appealing, right? My buddy Ken at Broker Solar is in the tax credit business. How would you like a solar battery that helps do two things? First, it serves as an instant generator the moment the power cuts out, and it doesn't even require gasoline. Secondly, it lets you take some control back from the power companies. Yeah, you can use solar power during the peak hours when your power company wants to charge you the most. Oh, and that tax credit on solar batteries, you can get a 30% tax credit right now. This is a phenomenal time to reach out to Ken. He'll come out to your home or your business. He'll give you a comprehensive free estimate, answer any questions. Solar isn't free, but you need to take advantage of those credits when they do come around. Call Ken right now. Save on a solar-powered battery. Online, find him at brokersolar.com or just call Ken, 807-7417. That's 807-7417, Broker Solar.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
Experience the difference local craftsmanship makes at Best Mattress, serving the Midlands as a family-owned business for 97 years. West Columbia, Divine Street, or our stunning newest Lexington showroom right near the amphitheater. Discover mattresses handcrafted right here. No offshore shortcuts. Our specialists guide you to your perfect fit with a custom comfort test, and you'll be surprised just how affordable quality and durability can be. Enjoy a 90-day comfort warranty and white glove delivery. Visit bestmattress.net. Sleep local. Sleep better. Best Mattress.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through December 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 towards your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part, we'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get an auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
She said, just give it away. Just give it away. There ain't nothing in this house worth fighting over. Oh, and we're both tired of fighting anyway. So just give it away.
So what did I predict? What did I predict?
So I tried to move on.
Bergie, what did I predict if the Gamecocks were to lose to Texas A&M, if they were to lose to Ole Miss? What did I predict would happen?
You said, 2-3 weeks ago, that if things started going sideways on Beamer, we would start seeing reports about his contract and what his buyout is and the whole 9 yards. And lo and behold, it came true yesterday.
Oh, yeah. It started early. I think the first place I saw it was right up on CBSSports.com. What's the buyout? What's the buyout? Yeah, that's become such a lazy narrative for the college sports media, especially those on the internet, especially among the fanboys on the internet. That's the first thing they look for. What's the buyout? Blah, 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 blah. Let me just say this, okay? I don't know what's going to happen. You never know day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year what's going to happen with a college football program. But in my total belief, South Carolina would be absolutely idiotic to fire Shane Beamer. They will never find another head coach who can do for South Carolina what I think Shane Beamer ultimately can do. Yes, it's hard to see that today, but just turn the calendar back 1 year. The same people who were kissing his feet as he was winning 9 games last year and getting them on the verge of making the college football playoff, those are the same people who were sticking the knives in his back today. Paul Feinbaum, the greatest, biggest fraud in sports media, the shill of the SEC, a guy who will suck up to any coach who is winning and shoot him in the back when they're losing. He flat out called Beamer a loser on a show today on ESPN, from what I read. And, I mean, it's easy to do that when you're 200 miles away and you don't have to face the person that you're calling a loser face-to-face, like in a press conference or anything like that. In fact, most of these people, almost all these people who say things like this, who call for coaches' jobs, they don't have to face that person the next day in a press conference or after a game or actually have to stand face-to-face with them and have a conversation. It's very easy to do that on a message board or on a website or on a television show when you're 200-plus miles away. So I think South Carolina really, I hope they understand what they have in Shane Beamer. They have a guy, I think, who is a very he is like Dabo Swinney to me. I see so much similarity between Dabo Swinney and Shane Beamer. And you can only hope if you believe in Shane Beamer, like I think he's going to be successful, you can only hope that Jeremiah Donati has the vision that Terry Don Phillips had when he was the athletic director at Clemson. Imagine if Terry Don Phillips had done what the fanboys and those on social media wanted done. No telling what direction the Clemson program would have gone in had they not hired Dabo Swinney and gone somewhere else. Or he had not stuck with Dabo Swinney through a couple of tough times. He didn't cut bait and go some other direction. He had a vision with Dabo Swinney's vision. And, I mean, the rest is history. I don't care about this year at Clemson. They're having a tough year. Okay? They're having a tough year. Nobody is guaranteed to win every year. For some reason, people on social media, fanboy media, who get their feelings hurt when their team loses, they kind of feel like my team's supposed to win every year. My team's supposed to win every game. And if they don't, we're going to fire the coach. That's the only way to fix it. That's not the way to fix it. Okay? That's not the way to fix it. But, you know, we have the great opportunity being in the media, being real media people, to having access and to be able to watch things up close, not from 200 miles away. And, yeah, we don't agree with everything that Beamer has done. I think he made a mistake in firing his 2 coaches during the season. I never like to see that. I think that's a mistake. And he's done some things like that. But you'll never find another person more committed to a school to make it right than Shane Beamer. Now, Dabo Swinney, I think, is like that at Clemson. But, I mean, beyond that, I think South Carolina will never find another person more committed to getting the job done and getting it done right than Shane Beamer. You know, he's at South Carolina for all the right reasons. They've hired coaches so many times for the wrong reasons. He's there at South Carolina for the right reason. And, you know, as corny as he gets sometimes with some of his expressions and some of the things he says, that's the same thing that Sweeney did as he was building it at Clemson. And he had to convince a lot of people that Clemson was the right place and he was the right coach. And Beamer's going through that right now. And, yeah, they're having a tough year. They're having a very tough year. They've had, you know, injuries on the offensive line. They've had issues at quarterback. I don't have to sit here and recite everything that's gone wrong. They're having a very tough year. But it happens. Imagine if Ohio State had not stuck by their coach after people were up in arms and ready to fire him a few years ago. But they stuck with him, and look at him today. Imagine if Oklahoma, after last season, had pulled the plug on Brent Venables. Look where they are today. Sometimes it's better to just hold with what you've got if you believe in that person. Now, I don't know what Jeremiah Donati thinks. I've never spoken to the guy. He was in the post-game press conference Saturday at Texas A&M. Kind of unusual because the post-game press conferences I've been to with South Carolina, I don't think I've seen him at one before. Now, he might have just been there because he was waiting on the bus and, you know, might as well go listen to the post-game press conference, et cetera. But he and one of his assistants, they were in there for what that's worth. So, I mean, my personal feeling is, you know, financially it'd be a hit for South Carolina that you don't need to take. You probably don't want to take. Can you afford it? You probably could. You could figure out a way. But if you're paying Shane Beamer $8.5 or $8.2 million right now, who are you going to hire and how much are you going to pay? If you go to try to hire some name veteran coach, you're going to be paying upwards of $9 million, almost $10 million a year. You're going to do that? And if you go out and hire somebody, the latest hot thing, the guy at North Texas or the guy at James Madison, and hope that you hit on a Signotti out there for for a quick fix and a quick turnaround. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know. That's the risk you take anytime you fire a coach. But I'm just saying, in my opinion, from being around the South Carolina program, you know, for a pretty long time and being around this program, covering it as a media person, traveling and covering the games and being at the games in Columbia, the press conferences, you got the right guy. They've had a bad year, but you've got the right guy. And I believe that he is capable of fixing the problems. He is capable. And I think that he will. I think he will hire the right person to be his offensive coordinator. I mean, personally, I think he should just make a phone call to Chad Morris and wrap it up in a hurry and say, Chad, come on in here and fix this thing. Now, I say that repeatedly. Do I think Chad Morris is an absolute savior? I mean, I've seen his work. You've seen his work. He's a quarterback guy. You need a quarterback guy. And you need a college quarterback guy. You need a guy that knows the college game. And you saw what he did at Clemson. That's just my suggestion, my idea of a guy who'd be the perfect fit. Plus, you don't have to pay off a contract at another school. And the money you could save by not firing Beamer, you can apply that towards hiring a guy like a Chad Morris. Don't know what it would cost, 1.5, maybe 1.7. You can handle that. So I think it would be, and you're not helping. If you're the fans out there on these message boards, you're certainly not helping the cause by creating stuff. Somebody posted out there, guys, that there was some sort of a flare-up in practice between Beamer and Clayton White, which Jordan Kay from the state newspaper researched and found out there was no truth to it whatsoever. And, I mean, you put that kind of stuff out on social media, unfortunately people believe too much of what they read on that unauthorized, unsubstantiated line of garbage. that flows out there 24 hours a day. So to wrap it up, to sum it up, my opinion, and I could be totally on an island to myself, I don't care. If you fire Shane Beamer, you're going to set your program back for years. I mean, you might hit on somebody who's going to come in and if Lenora Sellers stays, which I doubt he would, if Stewart stays, which I doubt he would, you might go out and win some games in your first year, but then typically, it falls off the next year. I think that the best move is no move here, even if I'm not even sure Donati is thinking along those lines. But if he is, the best move is no move, Bergie. I think you hold pat with what you've got, and you give him all the support that he needs, and you watch him turn it around.
I will agree with you 100%. I will throw these two caveats at you because I think this is why the fans have sort of turned 180 degrees and quickly. First off, I think the inconsistent seasons has really plagued Shane Beamer. I mean, you go 7-6, then the next year you're 8-5, then you fall back, go 5-7. Last year you go 9-4. They'll be lucky to get to 5-7 again this year. And then secondly, there's just it's hard to defend, and it's inexcusable, quite frankly, what they allowed to have happen, and that falls squarely at the feet of the head coach on Saturday. I mean, ESPN, I don't know if you saw this on the telecast while you were up in the press box, because that's probably the easiest way to watch. I've been to Kyle Field. I know you were up in the heavens trying to watch that football game. But SEC teams were 0-286 when trailing by 27 or more points in games since 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M became the first one in 287 games to come back and win a game like that. That kind of stuff as a head coach is nearly indefensible, and that's what hurts him. And that, along with the inconsistent seasons, when it's a roller coaster ride with him, I agree with you. I think he deserves the right to come back and try and fix this. But I think those are some of the things that are going to be big knocks on his resume.
Yeah, there's no question about that, Smitty. I mean, it's hard to live down what happened to them at Texas A&M on Saturday.
It was a bad Saturday. There's no doubt about that. And I would say this, and Corner, I would echo your sentiments, because South Carolina needs stability. They need to show even the next hire, however many years that is down the road, that they are the kind of university that stands behind their hires. So in this world where it's gone, to me, it's gone sideways. Like Brian Kelly was being carried off the field. They beat Clemson, who's the number 4 team in the country, and then a month later he's fired. And the rumors had started before that. James Franklin's fired in Penn State. You talk about whether it's an overreaction or not. But let me say this about Coach Beamer. And I heard all of your defenses of him and the reasons that you believe that it will work in the future. But to me, it comes down to one thing. This next hire at offensive coordinator. He's already had 3. If Lenora Sellers stays, this will be Lenora Sellers' 3rd offensive coordinator, and that's not including Mike Furry calling plays on an interim basis. It would be 4 if you count Furry as an offensive coordinator this season. This is the hire. So it doesn't matter. All the things you said about Shane Beamer can be true, or people could disagree with it. It really doesn't matter. In my mind, it boils down to the next man that is the offensive coordinator at South Carolina. If he's a success, very much in the vein that Brent Venables was a success, which in turn helped make Dabo Swinney a success, it comes down to the offensive coordinator hire. If it's a flop, if it's a dud, Beamer won't survive it. It doesn't matter what you believe or standing behind him, because you can't have this much instability at that spot. It's too important. So I'll go back to something I say all the time. We always report on the head coaching hirings and firings in the carousel. Coordinators are crucial. Look around the country. We don't always know their names, but those teams that are winning football games are well-coordinated teams. Those coordinators have control of those units. That's part of the reason they win, and South Carolina has to hit a home run with this next hire.
Ain't no doubt. All right, we're going to run to the break, and then we're going to back to your phone calls. I'm going to ask you to be briefer than we've been. We want to get in as many calls as possible and text messages as well. We got some recruiting coming up. By the way, Virginia Tech has hired James Franklin, and Penn State and Franklin have worked out a reduced amount of his buyout, and LSU flew in family members of Lane Kiffin on Monday to check out the campus and look around. So things are starting to roll there. So keep an eye on that. We're going to hit your calls up after the break.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love, and you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
The difference with Lawyer Lisa. Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports, all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina. Like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper, Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News, and Marv Sturgis from ESPN Upstate. Straight Up Sports is about the stories, just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
Many of South Carolina's top high school seniors meet in one unforgettable showdown in Myrtle Beach. It's the 78th Annual Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl. Hi, I'm Phil Kornbluth. Join me Saturday, December 13th at noon, live on your Sports Talk Media Network affiliate and streaming on all of our social media channels. Don't miss the pride, the passion, and the tradition of the Touchstone Energy Bowl, powered by your local Touchstone Energy Cooperatives. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com.
Well, she was an American girl, raised on promises. She couldn't help thinking that there was a little more life somewhere else. After all, it was a great big world.
The plumber points out accurately that Kiffin's family also visited Gainesville on Sunday and then Baton Rouge today.
All right. This is like recruiting.
It is.
And Stuart Mandel is reporting this afternoon, Phil, Ole Miss has told him he has to decide by the Egg Bowl whether he's staying at Ole Miss or going elsewhere. I don't know what that means. I mean, if he goes and coaches Mississippi State game, wins the game, and then runs off the field to the locker room and heads to the house, I mean, is Ole Miss going to fire him right after that because he hadn't made a decision?
Do they want to know before that game? Is that what they're saying?
He needs to decide by the November 28th Egg Bowl, so I would assume, yes. Ooh. They want to know beforehand.
All right, to the phones, and again, try to be briefer than we are so we can get to as many calls as we can. Let's go to Hank in Columbia. First up on Sports Talk. Hank, welcome in.
Hey, Corn. I'm calling in. I want to agree with you on a number of things you said in your opening soliloquy, and then and I kind of disagree with just one thing. The loss was epic. It was something only Carolina could do. Only we could do. As Bergie stated with the 1 and the 286. Though it's going to happen, but it reminded me so much of, and I know, Corn, I think you were at this game, the year that we had a chance to win. I think under Holtz, we had a chance to win the SEC East, and we went up like 23-3 or something on Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then Sheldon Brown or somebody dropped an interception that was dead in his hands that would have made it 30 or whatever. And once he dropped it and the momentum changed the other way, Florida came back, Red Spur, and they came back and they beat us.
Yep.
And that's what it reminded me of. And so at halftime, even though we were up 30-3, that was my biggest feeling was what would happen in the first two drives when we came out, because as big as that crowd was, I said if the momentum got going the other way, that was going to be a problem, because whenever you get momentum going away, it's hard to change it back.
Mm-hmm.
Now I will say in the first half, it wasn't all A&M mistakes. I mean, we held in the -9 rushing in the first half, and the offensive line was getting pushed, because I think we rushed for over 100 yards in that first half. Because luckily we were with the guys, but defensively, we were getting into the backfield. I mean, we were collapsing that pocket. We were getting in the backfield. We were stopping the run. So we were controlling the line of scrimmage. So I can't say it was just all A&M mistakes that was what was going on, because really we dropped 2 pick sixes in the first half that would have really put that game totally out of reach. And we missed another interception. We tipped it. I don't think that would have been a pick six, but we dropped 2 short pick sixes. But my problem with what happened was, one, I thought Beamer was a little bit too giddy at halftime, and he needs to clean that up as a coach. And I'm not talking about, I guess, whatever he was doing to the crowd, even though I saw that afterwards. I was just talking about how he spoke to the reporter. I would have rather him had the Nick Saban rat poison speech going in there. But this doesn't mean anything at all, so that worried me. And then when we came out in the second half and the defense went away from manning up and bringing pressure like they were doing in the first half and started doing that quarters coverage where you let the guy catch it and you tackle him in front of him. The minute that happened, we had a touchdown or two, that momentum got going. I got a feeling in my stomach. I said, this is going to be a problem with that crowd back there pushing them. So, I think Beamer needs to – I agree with you. I think Beamer is the right guy. I just think he's got to continue to grow up with like Dabo did in certain areas and get that offensive side of the ball right. So I'll hang up here with you.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, the comments he made at halftime going into the reporter, those are usually pretty benign comments. You don't pay a whole lot of attention to them. But, listen, all he said was, I think he was speaking up for his team. I'm not surprised we're up. We beat this team by 24 last year. We came here to win. I'm not surprised that we're up by 27 points at the half. I think he was just showing confidence in his team, that he believes in the team even though the record's not good.
No, I think that's fair, but the problem is, who's hearing? Nobody's really hearing that. If you're trying to motivate your team, go do that in the locker room. I kind of agree with Hank. I think it would have been better off, hey, we played 30 really good minutes of football. We've got to play 30 more minutes of really good football to have a chance. You take that sort of Nick Saban approach because, you look like a fool, unfortunately, afterwards. Well, obviously, it didn't go in, anybody who wanted to ding Beamer for whatever reason, Paul Feinbaum, whomever, they can revert back to that. Well, yeah, he was bragging so much about his team in the first half, he forgot to coach them in the second half.
It's going to come back to haunt you real quick. Can we squeeze in Triple T, the ABM, in about a minute here? Go ahead, Triple T.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
First of all, no disrespect to Hank. Tell Hank when you say brief is brief. He wasn't brief. He tried to do the whole thing. Couple of things. Couple of things I want to say. Clemson is not a good football team. Clemson is a bad team. Also, I feel Carolina pain. I still see that West Virginia game that we got beat like that. I'm saying this. And the last thing I'm going to say is, if you fire Beamer, who the hell are you going to bring in here? I'm saying this. And I was wrong. I thought he was going to go to Virginia Tech. But Virginia Tech was waiting on Carolina to fire Beamer. He was going to get the job. Franklin was the second choice. I'm letting y'all know that now. Beamer was the first choice. So like I said, and Feinbaum, hey, man, hell with him.
Okay, ABM. Brief and to the point. We'll continue with your calls after the break.
WQXL Columbia W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Mary Rose. The Federal Aviation Administration has lifted its flight restrictions on commercial airline travel. Correspondent George Williams reports.
The FAA said it recommended rescinding the order after what it called detailed reviews of safety trends and the steady decline of staffing trigger events at air traffic control facilities. Cancellations hit their highest point a week ago last Sunday when airlines cut more than 2,900 flights. Air traffic controllers were among the federal employees who had to continue working without pay during the shutdown. They missed 2 paychecks during the impasse.
President Trump is signaling he plans to meet with New York City's Zohran Mamdani.
The mayor of New York, I will say, would like to meet with us and we'll work something out. But he would like to come to Washington and meet, and we'll work something out. We want to see everything work out well for New York.
As a candidate, Mamdani has positioned himself as a symbol of the resistance against the president's policies. The Enhanced Affordable Care Act premium subsidies expanded during COVID and extended by the Inflation Reduction Act expire December 31st, 2025, unless Congress acts. Republican strategist Aaron McGuire says it's a crisis that's been brewing for years.
Republicans were screaming for years. I remember working in the Senate back in 2014. We were talking about Obamacare every day and how unsustainable it was in the long run. And now we're having to face that reality.
She tells the Salem radio network Obamacare is part of a broader affordability crisis that the Republicans won't be able to address flat-footed.
Mike Johnson is the speaker and Leader Thune is the Senate leader. This is a very tough conversation, but if we don't lead on this, Democrats will beat us over the head on affordability, whether it's housing, groceries, or healthcare going into the midterms.
Without renewal, premiums could double. More on these stories, townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2341. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-2341. That's 800-575-2341. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The NIH has cut billions of dollars in research projects under the Trump administration.
74,000 people enrolled in experiments to test medical treatments have been affected by an estimated $12 billion in funding cuts at the National Institutes of Health. That's according to a new report published Monday in JAMA Internal Medicine. Funding for 383 studies lapsed between the end of February and mid-August, leaving some patients with unmonitored heart devices or no access to medication. Researchers counted roughly 11,000 NIH-funded studies and found 1 in 30 lost funding. I'm Jennifer King.
Chris Boyd was on the minds of his stunned but grateful New York Jets teammates as they returned to work a day after he was shot and wounded in Midtown Manhattan. Boyd remained in critical but stable condition Monday. A motive for the shooting remains under investigation, and authorities say it's not clear if Boyd was targeted by the shooter. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here is tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening with a low temperature dipping down to 38. Tomorrow night, mostly sunshine-filled skies, a high climbing up to 72. And we get warmer on Wednesday through Friday. A blend of sunshine and clouds will have highs right around 80 degrees each day. The next rain in our forecast looks like it'll be Saturday or Sunday with about a 20% chance for showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number.
888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back. It's a Manic Monday edition of Sports Talk. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornblutz, along with Chris Bergen, Matt Smith, and the plumber, Josh Cohen, 888-898-2525. That's our phone number here on Sports Talk. Our text line number, 803-900-4847. Back to your phone calls in a moment. Of course, now we've turned our attention, no disrespect to Coastal and Furman. We've turned our attention. We've turned our attention to the Palmetto Bowl.
Don't sleep on Saturday.
We've turned our attention to the Palmetto Bowl as far as fan interest in the state. That's all we got left. That's all that's left for these teams is the Palmetto Bowl. So who wins? This is our poll question of the week presented by Larry Lucas, State Farm Insurance in Columbia and Lexington. Be sure to call Larry, 803-799-1998 for all your insurance needs. This thing has flipped early on. Early voting had Clemson as the pick. Here as the latter part of the afternoon, early evening, 51.5% are picking South Carolina, and Clemson, 48.5%. I would say that Clemson will be favored because they're going to have the better record. And if you look at the history of the visiting team, that really doesn't mean anything year by year. It's just been one of those freaky things. But I would say Clemson will probably be made about a 3.5 to 5 point favorite, and I'm no bookie by any means. That's just what I'm thinking. I think they'll be made about a 3. It's going to be I think it'll be a very close game. Right now, coming off the weekend and everything else, right now, tonight, today, this evening, this moment, this minute, this second, I would pick South Carolina. I think they are a little bit better than Clemson. I think they have a little bit overall, few more better pieces than Clemson does. That's just how I feel today. I might feel different in a week, but that's how I feel tonight. Anybody else got a feeling?
I think you've got to figure out what the Gamecocks are playing for, what kind of motivation they have, and how many of these guys in that locker room are going to actually come out and play the final 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, that's a massive deal. They may be more talented than Clemson. I'm not so sure that's the case, but they may not be as mentally sharp as the Tigers.
Corn, I agree with you in a vacuum, but to amplify Chris's point, I know this is a crazy thing to say because we talk football on this show, but if there are reports that there are key players for South Carolina that have let it be known they're going to transfer before the game. It's kind of like, remember Cam Ward set out the second half of his bowl game last year, and like it's gone crazy. I know that's but football wise, it's a coin flip game, and I would actually favor South Carolina by 3. But intangibles, off the field stuff, noise we're hearing about key players potentially right before that game, I think that could play a factor, and I never would have thought that could be a factor in a Palmetto Bowl, a game that we care about so much in this state. But is everybody going to be buttoned up with their eyes on their work before that game?
Keep in mind, Clemson lost 2 starting offensive linemen at Louisville. Walker Parks, he's done, and Braden Jacobs. He hurt himself celebrating the win.
Yeah. What was he doing?
He must have been jumping around or something, but he hurt a foot to the point where he can't play anymore this season. So Tigers are down 2 more starting offensive linemen. That's something to keep in mind as you think about that game a week from Saturday. All right, back to the phone calls. Number 888-898-2525. We go to Bobby in Charlotte. Next up, Bobby, welcome in. How are you?
I'm all right, man. I just got to know, when did Phil go so soft? I mean, Beamer, I tell you what, I'm a long-suffering Gamecock fan, but I'm still mad about when Shane bristled at Phil and told him about the folks at the Catawba Fish Camp after Phil asked a totally legitimate question. I'm sorry, Phil. I'm totally not on board with what you're saying about that Shane. I'm not saying you got to fire him this year, but as far as comparing him to Dabo Swinney, I mean, it's like he has all of Dabo's worst qualities, except for none of the championships, none of the money in the bank. Well, he has our money in the bank, but none of the figurative money in the bank with the trophies, all that. And the way he bristles at the slightest pushback, not even pushback, but just legitimate questioning. And I agree with Chris. I thought that was embarrassing. That interview he gave during the first quarter or second quarter, where he's talking about how we beat these guys by 24 points last season. I've never seen a college football coach say that during an in-game interview. And I can't remember seeing many coaches waving their arms like that. I understand he was waving at some of our fans, but he just opened himself up. If you want to be like Dabo Swinney, in one of his sayings, there's nothing less important than the score at halftime. I've seen him say that like a million times. And for you to think that he's just definitely going to make the right hire this time, he's already hired 4 offensive coordinators. Remember, he started with Bobo, and then he couldn't keep him, before he even had played a game. And then we got, well, you'll never believe who's blowing up my phone. And he said that stuff. He makes himself look like such a jerk when he says this stuff. You'll never believe people from the NFL. And then he got mad when people said, you know what, this is who you landed with, Satterfield, Loggins, and Mike Shula. And he's asking you guys, well, I'm sure you talked to Bill Parcells, didn't you? I'm sure you called him. This kind of stuff just grates on you. And Chris is also absolutely right. I guess in Columbia, and this is something that makes me sick, but I'm an alum. I have to live with it. We want to give people statues in Columbia for winning 9 freaking games. Like, we had to give Will Muschamp a big extension after he won 9 games. Oh, man, I didn't want anybody to swoop in and take him off our hands. And for some reason, we got to do that with Shane. But Chris is right. We're missing a bowl game, which is impossible to do in the modern era of college football 2 out of the last 3 seasons. So it's this yo-yo, up and down, up and down. And look, I can listen to you, Phil, as far as maybe it's not the right move to shove him out the door this season. It wouldn't break my heart if we did. But if you want to keep him, okay, whatever. But he's going into the next season on a hot seat, and who actually wants to have a really good career is going to trust their money, or what I'm saying, trust their job security to come to Columbia when they know he's on a hot seat. And I'll get off here. Isn't Chad Morris like Dabo Swinney's like one of his best friends? I mean, his son is up there in Virginia with Tony Elliott. There's no way in heck that Chad Morris is going to betray Clemson and Dabo Swinney to come coach for Shane Beamer on the hot seat in Columbia. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. But anyway, thanks for letting me rant. And I agree with Chris, totally disagree with Phil, but I love all of you.
Hey, thank you very much. Great points. Listen, you make a great argument. And that's fine. That's what it's all about. Chad Morris, a job's a job. And sometimes, I can't speak for him. He may have no interest whatsoever in going back into coaching. I'm just throwing it out there because to me, from where I sit, it makes sense, to do something like that. Funny you should mention Will Muschamp, because I was just thinking.
You used to defend him too, Corn.
I defend everybody. I don't believe in firing coaches every 5 years. I think the reason South Carolina's where it's at is because they have basically fired coaches every 5 years, and I think it takes – I look at Frank Beamer as a fine example. I look at Dabo Swinney as a fine example of what some patience and some tolerance can do for you.
Bill Snyder.
Yeah, that's another one. But imagine this. Had they not fired Will Muschamp, first of all, they'd have saved a heck of a lot of money. Number 2, do you know who your starting quarterback would have been? Do you know who your starting quarterback would have been at South Carolina had you not fired Will Muschamp?
Would have been Gunnar Stockton?
Would have been Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah.
He was committed to South Carolina. He was committed to Mike Bobo. He was committed to Will Muschamp. And
yeah, but wouldn't your head coach still have been Muschamp?
Yeah.
See, there's your problem right there.
You take the good with the bad. Maybe it would have turned things around. Part of the problem that he had, of course, was quarterback. And when Jake Bentley got hurt that first game against North Carolina, after that game when he got hurt and was lost for the rest of the season, they were lost. They didn't have a quarterback. And then, they never could solve their quarterback riddle at that time. And I'm just saying, had they stuck with him, you'd have had Gunnar Stockton. I think Gunnar Stockton's proven how tough a nut he is and how good a quarterback he is.
No,
So-
I agree with some of that, but that brings me back to the point I made in the last hour, which is about coordinator hires. You know, Bobby Bowden had, help me guys, Mickey Andrews all those years.
Defense.
Frank, you said Frank Beamer, right?
Mhm.
Who was Frank Beamer's defensive coordinator for 20 plus years?
Yeah, Foster.
Bud Foster. These coaches, these head coaches that we all assume, well, they know football. They know, right? They do. But one of the things that they did in knowing football was the right man to put in that position. Coach Beamer, your defense of that, and I like some of Bobby's points too. But think about this with Coach Beamer. If he were to leave, even after next year at South Carolina, even if he took another job, let's not talk about firing. What is the Shane Beamer offense? It has no identity, right? It is the next coordinator that he hires. His defense is the same way. If Clayton White took another job, he'd hire a different defensive coordinator, and they may change it. So this is very important. Coach Beamer does not come with his own playbook like Steve Spurrier did. That means if you're going to be a CEO type, like Mac Brown, like Dabo Swinney, your job, as much as anything else, is hiring the proper coordinators. That's why I keep talking about this. I think it is completely underrated. I think it's completely overlooked. We're talking about Shane Beamer's job. The next offensive coordinator is the man that's going to decide what that offense looks like more than Shane Beamer himself. Just like Clemson's offense, I made the point, they were throwing behind the chains. That's not Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney didn't tell him to do that. That's Garrett Riley's playbook. Those are his play calls, because these coaches that are CEOs are at the mercy in some ways of those hires. They've got to hit home runs with those hires.
Well, that's why I think of Chad Morris, or a Chad Morris type. I say Chad Morris because I've seen his work in person. We've all seen his work in person. But that kind of guy, he needs an older guy. He needs somebody to come in and take control of the offense with his own offense. Like you said, somebody who has his own ball plays and who calls his own ball plays and who designs his own ball plays and fits his, I guess you would fit your personnel to your ball plays. He needs somebody like that, and somebody who can look at Beamer and say, who's old enough and established enough, who's not there so much to take orders, but to take over the offense and kind of save him from himself from that standpoint. So, I mean, we'll see what direction he ends up going in. That would just be my suggestion of that type of coordinator. We go to Debbie. I'm sorry, is it? Debbie. Debbie in Columbia. Debbie, I've lost her on my sheet. Hello, Debbie. Welcome in. How are you?
Hey guys, I just want to say I agree with all of your defense on keeping reasons to keep Shane Beamer. I support Shane Beamer. We need to stick with him the way Clemson stuck with Dabo Swinney. Shane Beamer is the only coach. He's young enough. He's the only coach we've had that really wants to be here for the right reasons. And we just need to stick with him. And in my opinion, I'm not a fan of Lenora Sellers. Granted, he hasn't had a line really to protect him, but it won't hurt my feelings if he goes in the portal or leaves to go to the pros. But I think we need a quarterback before we need a new coach. And in my opinion, the portal and the NIL has just killed college football.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your phone call. Well, I don't know if it's killed it because, again, though I've seen some recent reporting where some TV ratings are starting to drop off in college football. I did see that recently that caught my eye. But people are still packing the stadiums, and people are still giving the money, and people are still watching in big numbers. So I know it's frustrating for those who believe college football should be the way it was, but it's not that way anymore. And if you're going to follow it, you're going to have to get used to the changes. You're going to have to get used to this new world order.
Well, Indiana and Vanderbilt and Texas Tech like it this way.
That's right. That's exactly
Alabama has 2 losses.
Yes, they do.
Mighty Alabama has 2 losses. So there's some teams that are in the American Conference and James Madison are vying for a playoff spot, which would put them on television and put them in front of more eyeballs than ever before. So we can not like the NIL and the transfer portal, and you can say that, as Debbie said, that it's ruined college football. But for me, I've been pleasantly surprised. I turn on the TV on television, and I still see the best reality show on TV.
Yep.
I'm watching Oklahoma and Alabama play, and I'm not thinking about the transfer portal. I'm not thinking about NIL. I'm thinking about, is Alabama going to get down the field and kick a field goal here and win this thing? Is Georgia Tech going to stay in contention for the ACC championship and beat Boston College on the road? I'm watching all these games back and forth. Teams you never thought would be important to you are important to you. So you can say it's ruined college football. You know what it's ruined? It's ruined Monday through Friday. Saturday's better than ever.
Wait a minute. You watch Georgia Tech and Boston College? Smitty, we got to get you some help.
I'm speaking in generalities, of course. I would never watch Boston College. Phil made me go to Boston. I told everybody there, so I would never come to this place. I would never come to this dumpy stadium and watch this team play and watch Bill O'Brien coach. But I'm here, so I guess I'll take it in.
Here's a story from Front Office Sports I was referencing. Nielsen said last week that college football viewership through 11 weeks is up 2% compared to last year, down sharply from a 10.5% gain seen in early October. A key reason, a heavily front-loaded schedule this year, including a massive Week 1 matchup between Ohio State and then number 1 Texas, which averaged $16.6 million. So it's still up, but it's not up as much as it was earlier in the year. Of course, again, some of the top matchups occurred so early. But I tell you what, the matchups on – especially the SEC matchups on Thanksgiving night and Friday and Saturday, that's going to be some great watching. That's going to be some great viewership for those games through the weekend.
Well, Phil, and I'm wondering, how much did they take into consideration? You said those are recent ratings, right? How much the YouTube viewers lost the opportunity to watch college football on ESPN because of the battle between Disney and YouTube?
That's a good question. Doesn't mention that here in this particular story. Maybe that didn't come into play. That might come into play in the next survey.
Okay.
By the way, the South Carolina-Clemson game will be on the SEC network now. At first they talked about it being on ESPN or ABC. It'll now be on the SEC network at noon on Saturday, a week from this coming Saturday. We go to Andy in Columbia. Next up, going to continue to run through some calls. Zach Willis coming up, some recruiting coming up. Andy, welcome in. How are you?
Well, other than watching my team choke this weekend, pretty well. First off, shout out to Oliver. He tells it how it is. My favorite Clemson caller. Number two, you got the ball on about the 50? 3rd and 1 in the third quarter. I think it was their second possession. And you don't let your quarterback, who's 240 pounds, run the ball to get you 1 yard. And it took you 2 plays. You couldn't get 1 yard.
Mm-hmm.
They never once ran Lenore Seller. I don't understand. And I'll tell you what, who's the happiest people that Franklin has signed with Virginia Tech. I don't know if y'all saw this or not, but Penn State got $40 million back.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're only paying $9 million now of $49.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure they're jumping for joy.
Isn't it amazing how we toss around these figures like it's just pennies on the dollar?
Like monopoly money.
Like $9 million doesn't matter. That's just so cheap. We're gotten off. So $9 million. I mean, that's still $9 million.
Compared to $49 million,
I know.
Nothing.
I get that, but
I mean, believe me, Corn, I'd like to just have $500,000.
Yeah.
Much less than 9. But
yeah.
I'm just talking. That gives them $40 million to throw at somebody that they want as their new coach.
So what you're telling me
is, can y'all explain to me the play calling of not letting Sellers run the ball at that position?
Maybe Mike Shula would have called a quarterback keeper there.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. As I said from the start, Mike Shula should never have been hired as the offensive coordinator after the debacle of the bowl game that he showed what kind of coordinator he is. And Corn, you did say he was the quarterback whisperer, and I'm still wondering who he whispered to, because I'll tell you what, as I said
he whispered
earlier,
to Cam Newton.
So he whispered to one. He must have had a really big hearing aid in, because Norris needed a hearing aid to hear anything this guy was whispering to him, because he made this young man go backwards.
Well, I'll tell you something else.
Development.
Tell you something, and thank you for your phone call.
Y'all have a good night,
thank
fellas.
you. Guys, think about this.
See, Andy.
Think about this. I mean, in the first half, they went to William Joyce, and he delivered with a 36-yard field goal, and he delivered with a 41-yard field goal. He delivered with a 35-yard field goal. He was 3 for 3. But they have got to get a kicker who's got a strong leg. Apparently, William Joyce, his leg is not strong enough. Imagine if they had a guy. Imagine if they had a Hoosier, somebody with 50-plus range. Apparently, he doesn't have that, because you're sitting there and you're on your first possession of the second half after giving up a touchdown. So now it's 30-10, but you need some more points. You've got it 4th and 1 on the A&M 30, and you run Matt Fuller, and he gets stuffed, and it goes over to A&M. But imagine if you have a kicker who can kick it 50 or 48 or 49. So you're facing 4th and 1, 37. You're talking about 47 yards. Now, maybe the wind was funky. I will say that. Maybe the wind issue was the reason they didn't kick a field goal or attempt a field goal there. So maybe that would come into play there. But I'm just saying, I think they're limited in some cases because they don't have a kicker who can go 50-plus yards.
Yeah, and Corin, one of the things you're bringing up here is reminding us of the unpredictability of special teams. We're going to have Zach Willis join us in a few minutes, and Zach Willis was a head coach, and he'll remind you special teams is a third of football. And yet we pick games. We ask each other. We talk to fans. We ask other coaches and analysts, who's going to win this week? Almost never do you say, well, tell me how many field goals are going to be missed. How many punts will be downed inside the 20 and change field position? Is guy going to muff a kickoff at any point? I just watched a game, 2019 Clemson. Clemson nearly lost it on a bad snap to the punter, first bad snap of the season. Louisville did lose it because of 2 missed field goals and an extra point. Special teams. They're so important, and yet they're so difficult to predict. It's one of the reasons I think we probably haven't talked about this enough. Joe DeCamillis has done he's getting a lot of credit. He was a good special teams coordinator, came in with a great reputation. Shane Beamer is Frank Beamer's son, Beamer Ball. They missed Pete Limbo. South Carolina's special teams were better under Pete Limbo when he was there than they have been since he left. I have no idea what magic elixir he had. I just know those special teams were special, and they were winning a lot of close games. Now they lose a lot of close games.
I'll say this about let me say this about the field goals real quick, because I'm looking it up here. So Joyce, his long is 47. He made a couple from 47. He missed from 47. He missed from 53. Let's see. He missed from 47. He made from 47. He missed from 53. He missed from 47. The Gamecocks have not – they attempted only one – no, they've attempted 2 field goals. They've attempted 1 field goal of over 50 yards, and that was Mason Love, and he missed it. So – they might want to go out and find themselves a kicker who can hit from 50-plus, Bergie, because that's a valuable tool. They could have used 3 points right then and there. But, again, full disclosure, maybe the way the wind was going, maybe they felt like the wind was too much to deal with.
That may be possible. That may have played a lot into it. But, yeah, if you can't, and especially now, you watch NFL games, Phil. I mean, I'm not trying to compare NFL and college kickers, but let's face it, this is where the game is headed at the collegiate level. You've got guys in the NFL that kick 60-yard field goals routinely now. If you don't have somebody that can nail it from 45 to 50 yards on a routine basis in the collegiate level, you're losing ground. And to Smitty's point about the special teams, don't forget a guy like Vicari Swain, who has been tremendous for South Carolina and saved them several times with his ability with the punt return.
And let me correct, he did hit a 49-yarder against SC State, but opponents have hit a 56-yarder, a 55-yarder, and a 51-yarder against the Gamecocks. We'll be back.
On point. Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here is tonight's forecast. Clear and chilly this evening with a low temperature dipping down to 38. Tomorrow night, mostly sunshine-filled skies, a high climbing up to 72. And we get warmer on Wednesday through Friday, a blend of sunshine and clouds. Will have highs right around 80 degrees each day. The next rain in our forecast looks like it'll be Saturday or Sunday with about a 20% chance for showers. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, my name's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. With the holidays approaching, people are looking for places to hold large parties. Flight Deck Restaurant has what you need. We have 4 different rooms that can accommodate groups from 12 all the way to 120 people. As long as you eat dinner with us, Flight Deck does not charge a rental fee for the room. Flight Deck Restaurant can accommodate wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, Christmas parties, birthday parties, anniversary parties, civic organizations that need to have a regular place to meet. Flight Deck Restaurant is a full-service restaurant and we can provide audio-visual equipment. Please consider Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Alongside with SRN News, I'm Mary Rose. The UN Security Council has approved a U.S. plan for Gaza that authorizes an international stabilization force to provide security in the devastated territory and envisions a possible future path to an independent Palestinian state. Russia, which had circulated a rival resolution, abstained along with China on the 13-0 vote. The U.S. and other countries had hoped that Moscow would not use its veto power on the United Nations' most powerful body to block the resolution's adoption. O.J. Simpson's estate finally agreed to pay a multi-million-dollar settlement to Fred Goldman. Fred is the father of Ron Goldman, who was murdered alongside Nicole Brown Simpson in June 1994 outside Nicole's Brentwood home. O.J. was put on trial for their murders. The former football player was acquitted of the killings following a lengthy publicized trial. This is SRN News.
Hi, I'm Tazima. Join me every Saturday at 11 a.m. for Small Business Saturday. We'll celebrate business owners in our community while learning their stories of success and failure. It's Small Business Saturday right here at 100.7 The Point.
When your pipes panic, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning steps right in, fast and friendly. Josh and his team aren't just fixing leaks, they're restoring your peace of mind. This is when you're at your most vulnerable. You got a problem, you need a solution. They're not coming out to upsell you or talk you into something new this or new that. You'll appreciate their process. They'll tell you what needs to get done and what it'll cost before they ever even bring in their tools to start the work. They're locally owned, which unfortunately is no longer the norm in the Midlands. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning will treat every home like their own. They've done work for me, for my brother, countless numbers of Point listeners. Dial 799-2222 or visit franklinplumbing.sc.com and you tell them Kev from The Point sent you. You will experience plumbing that's more than just a fix. It's a solution from people who care about their work and stand by it. When you need them, please don't panic. Just call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, 799-2222.
Step into summer with no unwanted guest in your home.
At Modern Exterminating Company, we're not just experts in pest control, we're your neighbors.
Lynn and Melanie Matthews here. Modern Exterminating has been part of this community since 1955, offering unmatched experience with the family touch.
Trust us to keep your home pest-free with care and dedication that only a local family-owned business can provide.
Experience the Modern Exterminating difference. Call us at 765-2315 or visit pestfreesc.com.
Let us keep your home truly yours.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington. Greg Lynette and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues. Just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy's Hardware of Lexington.
And now the sounds of football from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Enjoy the taste of football too, with hand-tossed pies, hoagies, wings, meatballs, hot pretzels, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
Now, First and 10 with Zach Willis on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Willis. Sounding fine out there, Mrs. Willis. Before we get to Zach, I want to mention a couple of quick things, football related, and that is that we have 3 teams from our state who made the D2 football playoffs. So Newberry is a number 3 seed and will host Kentucky State on Saturday afternoon. Benedict, which lost to Albany State in the championship game of the SIAC, Benedict still made it, and they will play at Wingate. Wingate is a number 4 seed. And North Greenville won the championship game of Conference Carolinas, played at their place on Saturday. They won the championship, and they are going to be going to play West Florida in the first round of the tournament.
Oh, boy.
They are the number 7 seed, and they'll play at number 2 West Florida on Saturday. So
that will not be easy.
No, it's not. That's a tough place. That is a tough place to play. Also, the Furman, speaking of football, the Furman soccer team is a number 16 national seed for the NCAA men's soccer tournament. They get a first-round bye. On Sunday, the Paladins will host the winner of Thursday's match at Clemson between the Tigers and Western Michigan. So there you go with
a little
that.
Furman soccer knowledge on you. They won in double overtime yesterday with the golden goal.
Okay.
UNCG. How about that?
A golden goal is what?
In overtime in the collegiate game, the first goal wins. And so they basically, the game ends when you score. So it's called a golden goal.
A golden goal. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got to say this, too. I got to get this off my chest. Another sign that the end of the world is near. So I'm driving back from the airport Sunday, and I'm listening to NFL radio. There's a game in Spain, and it's being broadcast by Westwood One. And their announcer, the lead announcer, the play-by-play guy, was like one of their soccer guys. And, I mean, it was awful.
They did that 2 weeks ago. The one in Berlin.
Yeah.
They had a guy who had an English accent. I thought he was really good.
Well, this might have been the same guy.
I wonder if it was, yeah.
I don't know, but to me it was awful because, I mean, it just he didn't sound like he knew American football all that well. And he was like struggling. He never gave the score, he never gave the time.
Same guy, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was yelling at the radio at him. I was like, time and score, dude. Time and score.
Number
time and score.
Number one principle of doing play-by-play is time and score.
Time and score. That's all that matters.
Anyway, another sign that the world's coming to an end. We've taken up too much time from Coach Willis because he's got a lot to say, and we got recruiting to get to and a long break in the middle, so let's get to him. Welcome in, Coach. Let's begin with Clemson-Louisville because you were there. You saw it firsthand. And you'll probably disagree when I say it was a game that Clemson really didn't deserve to win, but they won. I'm sure as a football coach, whether you deserve it or not, a win's a win, and Dabo Swinney was happy to walk away with a W.
I think judging by how happy Dabo was, that tells you how big of a win that was for them. And they did a lot of things. It seemed to me like at one point neither team wanted to win the game. Now, obviously, that's not the case, but, you know, the fumble, the bad snap on the punt was just awful. That was a really, I thought they were in trouble there. And then, of course, Louisville trumped them with a really stupid personal foul. And Louisville was committing personal fouls the entire night and was really poorly disciplined, I thought. You know, Clemson, in watching them in person, Phil, the one thing I was struck about is the massive difference in talent up front, not in execution. Now, don't get them twisted, but Clemson's offensive line probably outweighed Louisville per man by 40 to 50 pounds. And they played so high in their stances and in their sets that they couldn't get any movement. Now, once Randall started getting heated up, you know, he is a very special back. Watching him in person, he's better than what I thought he was. And when you see people in person, this kid's huge. He's got great vision. He's explosive. Again, I go back to George Rogers. I mean, he's that kind of back. And he changed that football game. I mean, he was an obvious difference maker in the game and really stood out to me. On the freshmen are going to be great, but he just can't run through there standing straight up. That's a typical freshman thing. That's nothing against the coaches or anything. That's just an experience thing. But he'll learn after he gets his sternum bruised a few times, I guess, to keep it down. But a huge win for Clemson, but a very difficult win.
No question about that. I mean, had they lost that game, had one of those kicks gone through, this kind of reminded me in some way, guys, about the great fortune Clemson had at the end of last year, losing to South Carolina, but you had Syracuse coming from way behind to beat Miami to get Clemson in the ACC championship game, and lo and behold, the Tigers, with a 64-yard field goal, get into the playoffs. I mean, it was very fortunate. They were very fortunate to win that game, and by winning that game, it keeps alive their bowl hopes, which they should clinch with a win over Furman Saturday. Just a lot of good fortune in that program last couple of years in November. I guess that doesn't happen by accident. I mean, good things happen to good teams, but they're not a really good team, but good things happen for them on Friday night, that's for sure.
They are very, very disciplined football team, Phil. That's what won the game is their kids, after the whistle, there's a lot of chippiness, and Clemson just didn't go for it, and Louisville did. They baited them into a couple of things, and that's part of the game. And the one thing that I can say Clemson has not lost is that focus on character, because you could see the body language on the sidelines, how the kids were responding to each other, and lifting each other up. You can't manufacture that, especially as disappointing as this season's been for them. And Louisville was a top 20 program. Let's not forget that. They were ranked 20th in the country, and the week before, I think 14th. And they had a great atmosphere there. I was a little bit shocked in a good way at how good the atmosphere in Louisville is at a football game. They got into it. The ops people do a great job putting on a show there. But, yeah, I mean, good. I always heard the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I think that Clemson's had some really bad breaks too, but they definitely they played hard, but it was almost like they were fighting themselves, seeing it in person, especially Cade Klubnik. Throws as pretty a 20-yard outcut as I've seen in a long time, and I mean a long time, and was perfect on those, but struggled to get the ball down the field vertically, and I wonder if that's not why they threw so many screens. He seems not to see certain routes as well as he does others. There's a hole there, and I don't know what it is, but he definitely is a great kid, but is really putting too much pressure, in my opinion, on himself. Just what I saw.
All right. By the way, Sammy Brown was the ACC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance.
Yeah.
Let's go to South Carolina. What were you thinking at halftime?
Are you there, Phil?
Yeah. I asked you, I said, let's go to South Carolina. What were you thinking at halftime?
Oh, well, I mean, I was honestly looking for what happened to happen. And I hate to say that, but Beamer made a comment going off the field about how they had blown out Texas A&M the year before, and I didn't like that at all. There's an arrogance in his voice, and again, you guys had me on here to tell the truth, and that was not the attitude you needed going in the locker room up by that much on the number 3 team in the country in front of 100,000 of their fans, and I was very concerned by that.
What was it about? I mean, I took it as him just expressing confidence or expressing he wants people to believe that he's got a good program and that they can play with anybody in the country, because he's repeated the fact that they've played so into the fourth quarter. So, I mean, I took it as him just trying to say, hey, I'm not surprised. We're a good team. Our record might not reflect it, but we're a good team. We can play with these guys. We beat them by 24 last year. Nobody should be surprised.
I wasn't surprised, and I expect him to play well, but I think if he's talking like that to the kids inside, he's priming them for a letdown. Psychologically speaking, as a coach, when they're doing poorly, you want to praise them and pump them up. But when they're rolling in there, head held high, it's time for a butt chewing at halftime to ensure that they come out with their hair on fire in the second half. And this is, I actually probably have never talked about this, but one thing I didn't do was blow leads as a coach. And we talked with Todd Knight a lot last week, and he and I talk a lot. And there's a thing called 4-minute offense and 4-minute defense. And what it is a way to bleed the clock really without another team knowing it unless they're really good coaches. And it involves, every time you make a tackle, 3 guys fall on the ball carrier at least if they can without getting a penalty. And you each count to 3 before you get up, and before you know it, you burn 10 seconds. You do the same thing when you're running the ball. The offensive linemen get on top of the runner, cover the runner, and they get up as slowly as they can. You milk the 30-second clock before you know it. You can waste almost an entire quarter doing that. And I saw absolutely none of that, none of it. Not even they don't even have a clue it exists. And so we're trying to maintain our rhythm. Well, you're giving up a 45 or 46-yard field goal to go for it on 4th and 1, and all you needed was that to win the game. I thought the kids played hard. But when you are not a good steward of the clock, and when you've got a lead that big, you have got to take every advantage. I remember the first time that NC State beat Clemson back in the Danny Ford years. Coach Sheridan had been, our coach at Furman, and left on my birthday after losing the national championship, and I watched him bleed like 18 minutes off of a clock down there. And I know the game's changed a little bit since then, but they had a big lead against a great team. And they knew how to win the game, and that's where I started learning it. But you have to break things up like that. There's little ways you can bleed the clock, and they didn't do any of them. And it was just kind of, to me, I thought they played a great first half, but A&M made a ton of mistakes. The kids capitalized on them. And there's a ton of things I could say, but we don't have enough time to get into all the things that I would have done differently from that.
Besides that, and those are good points, schematically, defensively, did you see anything different with what they were doing in the second half? Or if you didn't, should there have been some things that they should have done differently in the second half?
Well, the biggest thing I saw was the kids, played hard at times, and there were times where they were very tentative. You have to practice playing with a lead. And I don't know that that's something this team has been able to do simply because we haven't seen them with a lead that big, especially against an opponent that talented. But, back people up. Make them earn every possession they get. If they overthrow a ball, it's going to be picked off. If they underthrow it, it's going to be picked off. But you give them some cushion in there, and you turn your defensive front loose. If they want to run the football, let them run the football. But let them bleed the clock, and then gang tackle every chance you get. But whatever you do, don't press them and don't give up the deep ball. And how many of those? They gave up one to a kid that never caught a touchdown pass before because they just simply blew a coverage, and they were just in cover 3, which is, I learned that in Little League in McCall. So I'm pretty sure all the other kids did too. That's one of the first things you learn.
Yep,
big
plays. A&M had 10 big plays through the air for 329 passing yards. So they had like almost 33 yards on average on 10 big plays through the air. Only had what's so-called 3 big plays on the ground. So it was really those big plays in the air, 76-yarder, a 31-yarder, 39, 27, 40, 43, a couple of one in the 19s, 116. Yeah, they had 176. So, yeah, they had a bunch of those big plays that they couldn't stop.
Here's the thing, Phil. Let's take boxing or anything. You're up big in a fight, and you're up big. Maybe you've knocked a guy down a few times, but he's a heavyweight champion of the world. You go in there for the last 2 rounds of that fight, you just want to stay away. Box him a little bit, but you don't let him. What's he going to be throwing? He's going to be throwing haymakers. You had to prepare for A&M to be extremely aggressive because they were desperate. They were like a cornered animal. And that's when they're at their most dangerous. Reed's going to be dangerous because he's going to want to throw the ball. Let him run the ball. Carolina had, Dylan Stewart had a massive game. Turn him loose. Don't make him read up front. Let him go.
All right. So how do you think the Gamecocks react to this in practice this week and then getting ready for Clemson the next week?
Well, honestly, what we've seen out of this team is, now one thing I do think they've done a fantastic job is these kids show up and play hard every week. And I trust that Coach Beamer is probably as good as there is out there getting his kids to come back and play hard. And we have to give credit where credit's due. We have to be objective. And I know a lot of fans are being fans, but I want to remind them, you better dig in your pocket to buy some more players, because your budget's $30 million less than Clemson, and the crowd that beat you the other day is right around 50, I think. And I think that needs to be, in that state, that needs to be brought out. People need to understand that you got a bargain basement program there financially. Don't jump Shane Beamer too much, because he doesn't have the same resources that Clemson does. He doesn't have the same resources A&M does. He got a big stadium and all, but there are a lot of things on the inside and the infrastructure that you could buy with $30 million. And I think that's important, but I do think Coach Beamer will have them ready to play. I would be shocked if they're not.
Yeah, I expect it. I expect the same way. And I think Clemson will be ready to play in the Palmetto Bowl as well. I mean, not a great year for either one of them. Doesn't mean it won't be a great game between the two of them.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
What I've seen out of these teams, one thing that they don't lack is fight. They're going to go out there and go after it. Sammy Brown, just go back. My 13-year-old back, it was his first major college game, and that was by design. I don't want him to get burned out on anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I had him watch Sammy Brown the entire night, and he got a show on how to play linebacker. That kid is, if he's not an All-American, I don't know who he is. He may not get it this year, but he is one heck of a football player.
Coach, as always, we appreciate it. Have yourself a great week. Furman, your alma mater, taking on Clemson Saturday. So see how that goes for everybody. And South Carolina taking on Coastal. So we got all in-state games as far as those teams are concerned, all in-state opponents. So we'll break it down next week and look ahead to the big game. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great night. Zach Willis, 1st and 10 here on Sports Talk. We'll hit this break, and then we'll be back with recruiting. Don't go away.
The holiday shopping season is here. Get ahead of the crowd by shopping early and shopping smart with Founders Federal Credit Union. Now through December 31st, take advantage of 5.99% APR on select purchases made with your Founders credit card. Whether you're picking up the hottest toys for the kids or finally grabbing that item you've had your eye on, this offer makes it easier to spend holiday cheer without stretching your budget. Founders is here to help you make the most of the season with smart spending and flexible options. Treat your family and yourself. Save more and make this holiday season one to remember. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc for more information. Membership qualification required. Promotional rate ends July 1st, 2026. Effective APR of 13% to 17.9% will apply. See website for details.
Hi, I'm attorney Jim Corbett. For over 35 years, I've been handling claims and cases for individuals and small businesses. I've now been a mediator for more than 10 years. Let me put that experience to work for you. Like if you're injured in a wreck or on the job or at someone else's place, anytime you should get reimbursed or compensated. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968 or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Corbett with an E, and the initial consultation is free. Jim Corbett, to settle your claims, avoid a lawsuit, or go to trial.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there. Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, quickly, got to get to recruiting, brought to you by Seawell's. You know we recommend Seawell's heavily for the daily luncheon buffet, as well as for their terrific catering services. Call them at 803-771-7385. Let them handle all of your critical catering needs. 2027 tight end Malik Howard of Oak Ridge, Tennessee, has South Carolina in his top 6. With Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, Miami, and Vanderbilt, he visited in September. 27 Woodruff running back Aiden Gibson, top 9. South Carolina, Maryland, Rutgers, Appalachian, NC State, Florida State, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, and Indiana. He's up to about 1,300 yards. Thomas Grant of the New Irmo News reported on Friday night, Dutch Fork defensive end Julian Walker told him after his game he remains solidly committed to Michigan and will visit for the Ohio State game. A 247 Sports story over the weekend implied South Carolina target defensive end Zion Ely is happy about the news that Mike Loxley will be back at Maryland, and his commitment to the Terps stands, though he might take an OV to Texas. He's also taken OVs to the Gamecocks and Auburn. Former Clemson commitment defensive end Dre Quinn committed to Ohio State. 27 defensive back K.J. Green of Douglasville, Georgia, who has an offer from USC and interest from Clemson, was at Indiana Saturday, along with 27 linebacker Jalathan Mayfield. Actually, he visited Georgia. Mayfield visited Georgia. He's a South Carolina and Clemson target. Clemson target 27 receiver DJ Huggins visited Alabama on Saturday. All right, that'll do it. Have a great night. That's all we got for now. We'll see you tomorrow.